welcome back to my video blog, and thank you all for all of your book recommendations. I was completely overwhelmed by how many people had interesting ideas of what we should be reading. I have finished Caroline's book, and it was really interesting because it showed how disconnected the government seemed to be from people on the ground. But I think what was most important was this feeling of having insurgent Greens inside these institutions. The fact that Caroline was able to get people arrested at an arms fair because they were selling illegal products just proves that although we spend a lot of time outside of these groups trying to make a difference, having somebody inside being able to call out these activities is so important and can really change things. And I've picked out my next book thanks to your recommendations, and now I've just started This Changes Everything by Naomi Klein, and I think this is an important time to be reading this with the Paris talks just around the corner in November and December, and the fact that more and more people are getting motivated by the climate movement and the impact that climate change is going to have on the world as we know it and on society. And I hope that many of you will be building up for the Paris negotiations and be getting involved with those campaigns. I was asked on YouTube if I was an environmentalist, and as you can probably tell from my passion about Paris talks, that environmentalism is where my background is, and I have a degree in environmental biology, a master's in environmental technology, and I think it's really fundamental. This election, I think we did such a good job of not preaching to people about the environment, but showing about how it actually relates to their day-to-day lives. The fact that we were talking about getting the energy companies back in public hands, meaning that we can tackle fuel poverty. It's an environmental issue, it's a social issue, and I think that we need to not only be a form of go out and educate people, but we need to motivate people about why the environment is important. I think that there are lots of things about the rights for environment as itself, but we also need to acknowledge that all of these things are interlinked and that people in the environment rely on the environment in their day-to-day lives. This week we've also we've had the Queen's speech, and it was really clear, especially with the demonstrations yesterday. I think the austerity agenda is going to really define this government, and people are already angry about these cuts to public services that we're going to see. I think it's really our role as the Green Party to work as campaigners. Outside of this election period, we need to be making sure we just find our identity as people who don't just do electoral politics, but campaign and petition and actually show that you can change politics from outside as well as inside these institutions. The anti-austerity issue is so important. Austerity was one of the most Googled terms after the leaders' debates. And so people don't really know what this term means, yet it's actually tearing apart their communities and tearing apart their lives as they know it. We need to be making sure that we are strong in the face of this austerity agenda, and I know that so many of you will be joining us in the Green Bloc for the anti-austerity campaign on the 20th of June, and I really hope to see a lot of you there. And we've had a really big surge, actually. We've been seeing more and more people getting involved with the Green Party. Well, the Labour Party are trying to find out their identity, try and work out where their soul is, where their ambitions are. The Green Party has been really strong in who we are. We've got a strong sense of identity, and more people are joining the Green Party after the election. I think we've got a real opportunity to increase our membership, so please keep spreading the word, getting more people involved, and I think that we can really bring people along in a movement in terms of, as I said, not just educating people, but inspiring people about what the green agenda is. This obviously seems like radical politics, but in the framework that we're currently operating in, I think this kind of politics is the most rational way to achieve social and environmental equality.